Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. With all what's going on here, we had our big haul for the records this past weekend. If you didn't see the video, I have a link right up here. We didn't get out what sold on eBay video. I did have a couple of people ask on that, so we are putting it out today. Again, I just picked some random items from last week. I didn't pick as many, but I'll talk more about these items and give you some sourcing information on them this time too, so just to make up for the lack of the video on Sunday. So anyway, we'll go over and I'll show you some of what we sold. Okay, so the first item here is a postcard. I know I show a lot of paper. We do a ton of other stuff. The majority of our income these days doesn't necessarily come from eBay, but it's a good chunk of it. So, and this is what I like the most. So we're going to talk a lot about these as I've done in the past. Postcards, again, I don't care if it's Christmas time, what time of year, all of these type with all these incredibly nice graphics, the angel, the deer, the flutes, holly berries. I mean, it's a real nice image. Somebody just loved this one. 1124. I sold a couple Christmas ones. Being after Christmas, I know people worry about not listing them, but I'll list them no matter what. Here's just another example. This one isn't even that nice. The snowman's what sold it, I'm sure, at this point. So this one went for, I think, $15 on that one. Next item here is a postcard, Modesto, California. It did sell for $25.88. This is just a cheapo postcard. I maybe paid a quarter, 50 cents, maybe not even that much. We buy them in huge bulk lots. You know, sometimes in a local live auction, you can buy a huge, even a dealer state lot I will buy, because most dealers won't look up every card. They'll just throw some price on there. I've watched them price them before. I've got friends who do stuff and had in the past, so I don't worry so much if it's dealer stock like that. I don't do anything off the net on postcards because most of those have been looked through. All you got to do is look out what another seller is selling, and if they sell individual postcards, don't buy any bulk lots from them. You won't find anything. So anyway, let's move on from this one. Next one here is a Spanish. It's actually a Mexican lobby card from, you know, a window lobby card for a movie. I don't know what movie this is. I'm sure it's just a Mexican-only movie for the most part. It's not like a nationally released one, I don't think. Yeah, I don't recognize any of the company names or any of the artists on here. 15 bucks, that's about average. 10, 15 bucks for most of these. You can get the Spanish ones cheaper than you can some of the Americans, just because people don't think they'll be worth as much, but they still sell for us, you know, fairly regularly, so it's enough to make it well worth my while. Any little item I can add, even if I only make 10 bucks a pop, profit-wise, that's fine. Bottom end, net, 10 bucks on this or better. I pay $1 or less for any of these, just across the board. Label here, yeah, 15 bucks. I think I threw in shipping for 15 bucks because of that. The vertical crease that's there. Well, not really vertical, but the diagonal crease. That's probably where the actual sticker part would have been pulled off on these. 15 bucks, as I said. Next one here. Now, I showed these. We bought these with a huge lot of actual slides. Now, I threw away all the carousels. I didn't throw them out. I had them recycled, actually. I threw them in the plastic. But I saved all the metal cases. I sold them all. 15 bucks a pop. These were just a gimme for what I paid. I think I paid like $125 for the last group, and I had a whole bunch of these. I sold like 6 of these for 15 bucks a piece, just the cases. The slides all average. I think average sold price on most of the slides that came in lots like this are like $9.90 or somewhere in that range. But again, we get these in big lots. I'll sell the slides in here, average 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks a slide. You'll hit a slide that's worth, say, $150 or so on fairly regular if you buy big bulk lots of slides. You might have to go through a whole lot that you spend 10, 15 bucks on to get $100 or so dollar slide, but you're going to find a bunch that are worth listing. This is the long tail items. If it's a good subject matter and the slides are good, they're going to sell right out the door. You'll sell some first day, it'll pay for it for the most part, as long as they're good, as long as you do some good imagery when you do the slides. Now, I have a light table, and I'll just use my camera and do a zoom in. I do have a actual slide scanner for slides too. You can get them for like 60 bucks. I just don't like the quality on it because it always seems to fade out around the edges of the slide, and then you can't see the actual holder it's in, and most people want to see that, like if it's a red border Kodak, Kodachrome or Kodak. it matters. So I always do it on the light table, because that way it's just a 2-second difference, and I can just photo the whole thing with the light table off as well too. So it's a lot of turning on and off the light table. With our Canon D5300, it takes awesome pictures with the light table. It looks just like you're projecting it basically, but the colors are really vivid, and there's no distortion or any specking or little spots from like an actual conventional screen. Now we have a 10-foot movie screen that we do project these on sometimes for some of the different things we do, and we also use it for movies. So if you do this a lot, that's something that you'll want to invest in. A good movie screen 10-footer is like I think we spent $140 on it. And then we have all the projectors and stuff, and we can actually project from our 8mm and 16mm projectors, movie film projectors, onto the screen and do videos of them. Or we usually add screenshots to what we sell in the media area. So anyway, that's with that one here. Next one here is a Victorian fabric label. I talked about this in my Patreon group specifically, so I explained a little bit on this. It just happened I did sell this lot. There's actually 2 identical ones in here. $13.88. Next one here is a real picture postcard. This is a Ross. That's a German manufacturer. It's a movie star card. I'm not even sure who this actually is. It doesn't really matter. I just throw them up anyway. 1930s or 40s. What's the year on this one? 31. It's a Dutch card bought from Holland, somewhere in that area. So anyway, $15 I sold this one. A lot of the items today, and I almost titled the video $15 because that's what I literally sold a ton of stuff for. Even this record here was $15. It's a hit or miss on some records. Sometimes a bunch will go up, sometimes they won't. So you don't know what other people are selling at any given time. And when you do long tail, you know, I don't care if I took $15 for this. I got 10 cents into it. So let's just put it that way. With long tail, it's a different game for long tail, because if you don't go back and check them all the time, you may not know if others are in the market and the price has dropped and stuff like that. So once in a while I go back and check them, or I'll just do this and just throw them on sale. And I'll usually just throw on sale the ones who haven't had a bid and have been up for a long time. You can sort all of your eBay listings by how long they've been up on eBay, and then you can target them for markdowns by that aspect of it. So that's what I will do. It's the easiest way. If you're in the hub, just sort your active listings, do customize, and then from the customize section you can literally just pick, you know, length of time on, I think is what it is. Now these are for active listings, and then it'll literally show you a column. You click the top of the column, and then it's going to sort them by how long they've been up. And it doesn't matter whether you relist them or not, it can tell how long they've been up. So, you know, just keep that in thought there. It's an easy way to get rid of the older items, because you can just target the ones that are older. And I may go over that in another video here. I've been contemplating that because I've had some questions on that as well too. So anyway, $15. Next one here. Now this is a pretty awesome picture here in my opinion. It's a Lockheed Starfire. Now I don't know the designations, whether this is a fighter jet or what. It's an awesome image in my book. It just looks like an atomic age era. We took $20 on these. I put these up high, and then I've got a ton of fluctuation room on it. You know, who cares what I sell them for at the end? The average price on these is like $23, $24, I think. Figure out the average in an area. Like, we've got hundreds of these photos, and I mean hundreds. Maybe I have 400 up right now. I've got another 300-400 sitting here still to list, and I know I've been procrastinating on that stack, but you know, I'm still selling them. So I'll throw a whole bunch up at a high price. I can, you know, do an average price and figure out where my sale price goes on these, you know, and it's a decent average price on them. I'll add up every one that's sold, you divide how many you sold, and that's your average price of those items. It's just that simple. So math works great to figure this out. You know, I try to throw some math in here. A lot of people aren't happy to hear the math. And my math videos just don't get a lot of traction. I'm still going to put some out there, because if you're new to selling and you just don't like math, you're going to realize that it's your friend, and it's going to help you decide on which items to sell. People ask all the time, what should I sell if I'm doing retail arbitrage or on wholesale, getting wholesale? How do I figure it out and stuff? It's called math. Nothing more, nothing less. If you can't get the gist on mathematics, sell-through rates, average sale price, longevity and return on your investment, and all these phrases and things that people throw out there, you're going to have a problem. I know people can just throw this up on, import it and stuff, but most people who've been on a long time who do that are doing it for ease. They know the material. If you don't know the material and you're just doing it because you don't know what else to do with it, you're losing out on so much of how this works for most people in the field. Most of the people who are selling a lot, like us or any other people out there, Bearded Picker, any of these other ones out there that do a lot, know the numbers. They've got a background, or they know the numbers. They know what their business is. They don't have to use the service. They only use a service because they don't want to waste the time. There's a big difference. But anyway, 20 bucks on this one here. Let's fly through some here. I don't want to have a huge long video. 13 bucks on this one. Decent postcard. Mare Island, California. So, I tell you, California is the #1 selling category in postcards right now. Reward of Merit, any of these Reward of Merits with cute dogs, and I think this is a Pekingese, or, yeah, I don't know, there's not even a name on what what it is, but it's talking about sloth from the Bible. It's one of the 7 deadly sins, so I thought that was interesting. I'm sure that had something to do with it. I should have put Pekingese on this one. I might have sold it for more, but it went for 15, so no big deal. Next one, another card. This one went for, again, $15. Average price of items we sold in this account is like $22.50, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere in that $22.50 range. That's my average sale price across the board per item from this month. I do them weekly. I do them monthly. It fluctuates, give or take a few dollars. Again, math works. Math helps you. I'm not going to drill it into you, but, at some point, dig into the math, and you are going to be able to figure out everything you needed to know about your business by simply using math and common sense. So, anyway, Shakespeare. This one had a Shakespeare. It's a fantasy. Dean Martin, Memories Are Made of This. I probably showed the other one that sold. I have a standing list of auctions that I sell things on, even on Amazon and here and Discogs. I sell records on 3 sites, and what I do, like something like this, or In the Mood by Glenn Miller, I have a listing that I save constantly. So all I got to do is type in Miller or Glenn Miller, depending on how many Millers I have up at the time, and then I can just add a quantity. I run these till forever, and these actually just relist even without a quantity, so you won't see some of these actually sell because it's always an active listing. It never ends. So once you sell the last one, it's still active. You can delete it, and then it's gone, and no one can tell what you sold. So, if I had people say, some items weren't showing up and ended and they, kind of doubted it, but you can hide all that stuff. I sell this one all the time, so this one's always like this. You can see 2 sold on here. I add them up, I'll switch it, I'll run a new one, I'll change something. Reason being on this one here is because the bin that this is in will change depending on if it's full or not. So I've got a couple of these listings running at almost any time of Memories Are Made of This by Dean Martin. Same thing with In the Mood by Glenn Miller, Take the A Train. The Charleston by Whiteman or something like that. So Paul Whiteman, whatever you want to call it. So I mean, there's standards that I always sell. So it pays to keep your listings there and not delete them when you're done, when you do stuff like this. I know somebody else may not run into multiple copies of the same disc all the time, but I do because I buy massive quantities of records. So I don't show a lot of records because it's not always on this account, and I do it on other accounts, and I don't really want to give out all my Amazon information and give out all my Etsy information or give out all my Discogs information. So I'm very selective on what I show. I do list some in both stores, so anyway, it's a safety factor for me. So again, 15 bucks again. Average price on this disc, and it sells every couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, all the time, is about 17 bucks. That's the average sale price, what I get out of this disc. So the average purchase price is 50 cents or so across the board, because these are considered undesirables by most dealers, sellers, and everything else. So I usually pick these up in huge bulk lots for nothing, 10 cents on the dollar. And then again, I will buy them up to $1 a piece. So anyway. Sheet music, average sheet music price, sale price is about 14 bucks on average. That's what I get. Sometimes it'll skyrocket. I'll buy a huge lot of large format. They're bigger than this size here. The earlier ones, like say pre-1920, were large format. They're really big sheets. Maybe I'll go over that in another video here as well. But large format are bigger, and when I list a bunch of large format, it's sometimes I flood the market, or at least my store market, with hundreds of those, and then my average sale price goes up to like 32, 33, depending on how many good ones I have. So anyway, this one did sell for $11.99. Cats in the Cradle, Cat Stevens. Let me see here. Another one of these. This one went for $20. It's just another cylinder. I sell a couple of these a week these days. I just purchased a whole bunch of these just a few days after I got my huge, massive 7,000, almost 8,000 record lot that we got the video up. We purchased a bunch of these. I purchased a couple more hundred of these that I'll have to work through too. So I've talked about the best way to sell these. The best way to sell something like this is not an auction. It's long tail, listed high, 2450 or 3450 range, and just let it go. There's a few that are worth selling in an auction, but they're 1 in 1,000, and it's literally that high. We get these quite often, and I just don't get any real good ones. And then those ones are the only ones I would put up as an auction. Every other one of these, and I do mean like 95% of every one I get goes up for $24.50 or $34.50 as a bin across the board. Never worry, they're not worth that much money across the board. There's not that many collectors. I'm fine doing it that when I sell them all the time. So anyway, $24.50. Roller skating label, $15 again. So I've talked about those a million times. I won't go back into those. Silks here. Now, I've sold a bunch of these. If you were in my Patreon group, you got to see how to do stuff with these specifically. I talked a little bit about details on them too. I bought a bunch of these for $800, I think, maybe $1,000. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. I buy so much stuff in quantity sometimes, but I bought maybe 70 of these, and for that price, $800 or $1,000, whatever it was, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. And I've been selling these constantly. They were purchased. Now, this is a sports related. These are college sports teams, and it's tied to sports fields. So literally, it was a regional sports auction, local live auction, where I purchased these at. They showed up there. I knew there was some vintage Victorian sports related items there. And for these, the silks aren't well collected these days. They're still high dollar items. I waited till all the really hot stuff showed up, and those were all in the beginning of the auctions. Those all were sold. People shut out the money. People were leaving. They spent a ton of money. So by the end, when these came up, I was able to nab them at, a fraction of their value. We've quadrupled our money on these, and I've only sold like 20% of them. So, the value is in these, They came in tobacco. They came in cigarettes. They came in smoking tobacco bags, like loose leaf tobacco and stuff. So anyway, $50 on this one, $40 on this one. I don't think they even went to the same person. This one was $65, I think, on this one, shipped. Another label, $13.12. This is a modern day one. These are samples. I picked up a printer sample. It was a printing company. Now, I had to look the information up. This wasn't marketed as a printing company, but a printing company was in the building for years, and I do mean years. And I only know that because I actually worked for a magazine back in the 80s. One of my first jobs was a Homes magazine, and we printed there. So most people may not have known, but I scooped in on the auction there, hoping maybe there was something there. There was tons of pre-printed labels that were just boxed up, and I mean tons of them. I've been selling these for a long time. For almost nothing, because no one expected something like that to show up. I wasn't sure if it's there. You're hit and miss. You have no idea when you go to some of these sales like that. So I got lucky. I get lucky maybe 1 in 6 times on something like that. So, it's that 6th time, though, that pays for all the other ones and then 20 more visits. So, it's just a matter of wasting a little bit of time and some gas to check these out. So anyway, next one here, Madeline Bell. It's a Northern Soul. Going to England on this one, $20.62. So typical average price on 45s is in the $20 plus range. Some months it goes up skyrocket when I sell like a $500 record, a $1,000 record, a $2,000 record. Every couple months I get a couple $1,000 record. I've sold a single record before for around $4,200. So 145, same size, same what you see here, basics. So they show up all the time. Look on PopPsych. Just type in soul on PopPsych and sort it by highest first, and you'll see. So you can do the same thing for jazz. if you want to know, research and do stuff, just go to PopPsych or go to eBay and search just in the records category, just in the 45s category, and just search for sold, the word sold, nothing more. Just do completed, and then just do solds. Compare the actual sell-through rate for that category. Don't look at sell-through rates with live auctions. They haven't sold. They can't be included in there. That's not how it works. A retail establishment does all the items on hand the first of the month, and then they'll figure it out based on how many actually sold of that on hand. So to figure out a logistical and honest continuing process on figuring out these figures, you have to use just solds. You can't use new ones because it fluctuates. There may be none of them up. It could be relists. I just do solds versus actually how many were up there. So I'll do all of the items that ended for a certain category, a certain item, and then I'll look at how many actually sold, and that's where I come up with my figures. That's the only way to do it. Anybody tells you otherwise, it's not a correct figure. There's a deduction you can do to count for maybe possibly relists. You can deduct 10%. That's the rule of thumb in my book and what I've talked to and the people I've talked to. It's just a standardized 10%. So on stuff like this, $20.62. Let's move on. Postcard. This one went for, I think, oh geez, it did go for $33.75. I'll have to take that back. This sold overnight. It has a Graf Zeppelin in it, so, and it even says Zeppelin on it. That's why this one sold. I'm sure of it. It's a German card. It has I think it has some kind of military tie-in to it with the wording on there as well too. So anyway, I was happy. $33.75. It was up for a long time, a year and 3 months. You know, that may sound like a horrendous amount of time, but it's 2 cents a month basically to list something. So for me, it's 24 cents. I might have 40 cents into listing this. I've got $1 into buying it. So, you know, who cares? You know, let's move on here. Next item here, Fisher Price. Now, I had a bunch of these. We've sold them on other sites, Amazon as well, back in the past before they started asking for invoices. But $14.50 on this one here. It's sealed, never been opened, new old stock. Postcard, $15 again, another real picture postcard. It's Huron County. It's a specific beach. It's a specific area. I've been up in that area. There's a bunch of stuff like in Wisconsin. There's a bunch of areas like this, like even up in Wisconsin Dells. So anyway, let's move on to the next one. Next one's 78. I took $25 on this one here. I pay $1. You never know what they're worth. There hasn't been another one of these sold in quite some time. And that shouldn't be a factor on pricing them just because one sold for, you know, say $100 5, 6, 7 years ago. The market changed. There's only so many people that want these early records. So at the end of the day, you know, you're going to get a bunch that don't sell. It's just how much are you spending on those and how much is your profit line. So if I'm spending, let's say, $50 to list 1,078 records a month, let's just say, but I'm selling $4,000 worth of 78s a month, you know, it's a no-brainer. Keep listing them. Keep letting them run. Who cares if you've got 1,000 sitting there that are running? Because these are going to take the right person to show up. When you collect or sell certain things like this, you have to have a bunch up there to keep getting these return sales. You know, and it's once you get enough saturation in there, you'll be selling a lot more all the time. Like every day you can sell a couple of these. On eBay. Amazon, they sell better, believe it or not. And I've said that before. Amazon, I get better money and more routine sales on some of these earlier 78s. Now, modern day ones like the Dean Martin I showed you will sell constantly on eBay or Amazon. So anyway, let's move on to the last one here. And this is a license plate frame. Now, the toppers sell just as well, and I did a video just on these. That is what it sold for, $35.62. So just keep that in mind when you see these on the streets. I buy them. I don't care what. Dollars usually what I pay. A couple bucks I'll pay for them. I'd never spend more than, say, $4 or $5 on one of these because it's going to sit for a little while. Unless they're in the Super Bowl or it's a sports team that has some major event, and then it's going to fly off the handle. So anyway, this is from the local area. I was able to pick up a bunch of these, so I only list one at a time. One at a time. Do not list a bunch on certain items. You can do it on Amazon, you know, if that's the case. You know, I can sell sports items on Amazon, so you know, it's an area that we sell in. I can sell automotive on Amazon too, which is a category this would fit into. So, but yeah, again, you can sell it, you know, this kind of stuff all over the place, even on Etsy if you really wanted to. So anyway, that's about it for today. Well, there you go. There's some more items we sold. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.